My number one question has always been this, is where are the men as far as emotions go, feelings go? I get that. It's not that they don't have feelings. They very much do. They're very real. That's why I love this book. It's called The Male Brain. It goes into why men sort of behave the way they do. But what really is going on with men, and why, I get that they don't want to deal with their feelings, and I get why they're over there chattering in the background and not listening to me.
We're listening.
We're listening. Questions are arising.
That's right.
Y'all feel free to tell me.
Who wrote the book?
The woman that wrote the book she is a woman, but she did the female brain and the male brain, and a lot of people told her, well, that will be short. Because everybody thinks men are so simple, and I've never viewed...
What qualifications does she have in order to write such a book?
She was first a pediatrician, then she became a psychiatrist, then she's a neurologist. So she's a neurologist, basically what I would be. Because they're all interrelated, and she puts things into a biological perspective.
And what is her take on it?
Her take is that men are genetically, generally, not in every case, they have things that they're good at, and they have things that women, they're not so good at. Women have different parts of their brain that have been proven to be more susceptible to emotions. Men they've been born with the innate ability. They have bigger areas in their brain that are for visual spatial reasoning. That's why guys tend to be better at reading maps. That's why you tend to be more hands-on. There are hormones.
For sex.
There are hormones that are in play.
You know what? That's a good point too.
That point to why you behave the way you do. Aggression, testosterone. It's all about aggression. There's a lot of biological factors that are behind and explain and account for it.
A perfect example of a story of how that can change. And I probably agree to some point there is a genetic reason the way men and women are different. Because ultimately they have different roles in society.
They do.
That's basically procreation, and it's a two-part thing. So men, they take it. All man wants to do is plant that seed and move on and plant some more seed.
That's one of
women, and surprisingly, this mother-daughter relationship or mother-child relationship has actually only been in play for a few hundred years, and it wasn't always like that because death was so prominent in newborns. Wow. A lot of parents didn't want to get attached to the children until they know they were going to be there.
Wow, that's something I hadn't realized.
But they were doing it all the time because the mortality rate among families that traveled across the country is probably, big families were the norm only if they survived.
Right.
Yeah.
Women had children, had 12 children in 15 years of marriage.
And that's kind of...
But they may have ended up with a family of 6.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's exactly one of the theories about why women come together and they need support groups and they talk and they do this and that, because from an evolutionary standpoint, they had more strength as a group than as men.
But I believe the statement I just made, I just recently heard actually.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily agree with that because if you look at the wild, a mother generally takes care of the child.
Right.
Well, Mama Bear protects the child. Get that thing out of my face.
It's not anything.
So in the wild, it's a natural occurring thing. A father will eat the child. Because like you said, it's aggression and he's hungry, fuck it. Why should I feed that thing? Let me eat it. And there will be a fight with the parents. And generally speaking, the mother will probably win out or at least run him off.
She'll try.
That's to me is that genetic code that the female of the species has.
We have estrogen.
Okay. Men, on the other hand, have testosterone.
Yes, they do.
And that's the steroid. But a true man will realize that he can or can't do something and will either feign out of it, make excuses, or just knuckle down and hire somebody to do it.
Men.
Or RTFM, read the fucking manual.
Yeah.
Men are all about, well, they're, according to her theories, because of that and all the other factors, they're all about what's the problem, how can I solve it? They want nothing to do with emotions because that shows weakness.
Well, if you show an emotion, then we have to figure out how to fix it, how to make it a
you
happy
don't
emotion.
You don't want to be
right?
viewed as weak, right?
Well, who does?
Say that again?
You don't want to be viewed as weak. And if you express your emotions and it's not aggression or happiness or whatever, is it not viewed as weak and threatening to your ego?
Well, see, you got to learn to do that, and you have to learn. You know what amazes me about the world today is the man who is the worst criminal in the world, but you talk about his mother and he'll kill you. But
I agree.
But on the other hand, he'll go out and kill somebody else's mother.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's where that disconnect, that's where those sensors aren't, those receptors aren't working right.
Right.
That's a good point,
Totally agree.
The story I was going to mention earlier is I was probably about 12 years old with a BB gun sitting out my window shooting at birds.
Okay.
I killed a bird.
All right.
It was the worst feeling I have ever had in my life. I never went hunting. I don't fish. I don't do any of that. You know, I need meat, I go to the store and buy it. You know, I'm not going to go and hunt like deer on my property. I have deer all the time. I hate venison anyway. But to me, killing is wrong.
It didn't feel right to me.
Did you share
right.
that emotion with anyone when you
Oh yeah, I've shared it plenty of times.
When you
The worst feeling though I had was when I punched a kid so hard I knocked his 2 front teeth out, and the fight was about a stupid thing. I remember it well because he was my neighbor and he was a dick. But he was a smart ass little kid, and it was one of those things behind our buildings in the alley. Instead of another row of houses and garages, there was an envelope company. And they had a big parking lot, so behind us they used to play ball in the lunchtime and stuff like that. And we were sitting there one day, we were on his gate to his yard watching the game, watching these guys play, me and my buddy. And this kid came out, get